The research vessel Eternal Curiosity drifted silently through the void, its quantum sensors mapping the peculiar anomaly that had brought them to this unremarkable solar system. Chief researcher Valera watched the holographic display with all four of her eyes, mandibles clicking thoughtfully as data streamed across multiple screens. Another warning beacon, her second-in-command, Sixtel, reported from his station. That makes 13 in this sector alone. Valera's crystalline exoskeleton shifted colors, reflecting her growing intrigue. The Galactic Council had designated this entire region as a dead zone, a place where civilizations simply didn't venture. But nobody had explained why. "Play the beacon's message," she ordered, her antennae twitching with anticipation. The ship's AI translated the ancient warning into modern galactic standard. ATTNTY1. This system contains a Class X Deathworld species. Do not attempt contact. They will take it as a challenge. We repeat, do not ATMPTCONTACT. Class X. Sixtel's exoskeleton paled to a worried blue. That classification doesn't even exist in our database. Valera moved closer to the main viewport, studying the third planet of this system. It looked deceptively peaceful, a swirling marble of blue and white. What's so dangerous about this species that would warrant such extreme warnings? Their science officer, Kellerman, brought up historical scans. According to these readings, they call themselves humans. They've only achieved spaceflight within the last century. Their technology is primitive by our standards. Primitive. Valera's colors shifted to skeptical purple. Then why are there warning beacons from civilizations thousands of years more advanced than us? The answer came from an unexpected source. Their ship's AI had been analyzing centuries of accumulated data from the beacons. Chief researcher, I believe I found something relevant. It's a personal log entry, dated approximately 10,000 cycles ago. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the recorded message of an alien species long extinct. The translator struggled with the ancient dialogue. To any who find this message, we thought we understood challenge. We thought we understood adaptation. We were wrong. These humans, they evolved on a world that should be impossible to inhabit. Their planet actively tries to kill them, yet they treat it like a game. They turn everything into a challenge to overcome. Valera watched in fascination as the recording continued. They deliberately eat substances that cause them pain because they enjoy the sensation. They intentionally climb mountains that can kill them because they're there. They synthesize materials that could destroy their entire civilization to see if they could. And worst of all, they're friendly about it. The message ended with a final warning. They don't mean to be dangerous, but they don't know how to be anything else. Their very existence is a continuous challenge, and they love it. The bridge fell silent as the crew processed this information. It was Sixtel who finally spoke. Surely this is an exaggeration. No species could evolve with such counterintuitive traits. Valera's colors rippled with excitement. There's only one way to find out. She turned to face her crew, her exoskeleton now glowing with the bright orange of decision. Prepare first contact protocols. Chief researcher, Kellerman protested. The warnings are exactly why we must make contact, Valera interrupted. Think about it. A species that turns everything, even their own survival, into a challenge to overcome. Imagine what we could learn from them. Or what they could learn from us, Sixtel muttered ominously. Valera's colors sparkled with amusement. Exactly. The Council sent us to study anomalies. I can't think of anything more anomalous than a species that 13 different civilizations warned others to avoid. Not because they're hostile, but because they're too enthusiastically friendly. As the Eternal Curiosity adjusted its course toward Earth, none of the crew noticed the final line of the ancient warning, written in nearly microscopic script. P.S. Whatever you do, don't introduce them to your advanced technology. We showed them our faster-than-light drive once. They replied cool, but we can make it go faster." They did. We're still not sure how. The ship's sensors picked up thousands of artificial satellites orbiting the planet, along with countless pieces of space debris. Rather than deter Valera, this only heightened her fascination. What kind of species would continue exploring space, even when it meant creating hazards for themselves? "Beginning first contact protocols," Zixtal announced, his voice carrying a note of resignation. "Broadcasting universal peace signals on all frequencies." The response came faster than anyone expected, not from Earth's governments or military installations, but from thousands of individual signals. Humans around the planet were already broadcasting back, everything from mathematical sequences to popular culture references to something called memes. Valera's exoskeleton shifted to a shade of purple never before seen in her species. "They're not afraid," she realized. "They're excited." "Chief Researcher," the ship's eye interrupted, "I'm detecting numerous small objects launching from the planet's surface." "Weapons?" Zixtal asked, ready to raise shields. "No," the AI replied, sounding puzzled. "They appear to be amateur satellites. Humans are launching them to get a better look at us." Valera's mandibles clicked in what might have been either amusement or anxiety. "Well, crew," she announced, "it seems the warnings were right about one thing. They're definitely taking this as a challenge." The Eternal Curiosity's observation deck had become an impromptu command center as Valera and her crew watched humanity's response to their arrival unfold. It wasn't anything like the first contact scenarios they had trained for. "They're doing what?" Valera asked, her crystalline exoskeleton flickering between confusion and amazement. "Live streaming us," Kellerman repeated, monitoring the flood of Earth broadcasts. "Millions of humans are broadcasting their reactions in real time. They've already created something called alien arrival bingo cards. And, Chief Researcher, they're making predictions about our biology based on popular entertainment." Zixtal's colors shifted to worried amber. "Should we be concerned that they already have extensive fictional documentation about alien contact?" More importantly, Valera noted, their governments haven't attempted to suppress or control information about our presence. It's all just happening in the open. The ship's AI interrupted with an urgent notification. "Chief Researcher, I'm detecting a signal originating from a location called Reddit. It appears to be a collaborative effort to welcome us with something called a planetary flash mob." The crew watched in bewilderment as millions of humans coordinated through their primitive global network. At precisely 20 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, cities around the planet began playing the same musical sequence, something humans called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. "They're referencing their own fictional accounts of first contact," Kellerman observed, fascinated. "They're treating centuries of imagination about this moment as a cultural touchstone, rather than discarding it in favor of reality." Valera's antennae twitched with sudden understanding. Because they never saw those stories as just fiction. They saw them as practice runs. The observation was interrupted by a new alert. A transmission was coming from a collection of human scientific institutions, led by something called NASA. The message was being broadcast on multiple frequencies, using several different mathematical and linguistic approaches. "They're not just trying to communicate," Zixtal realized, his colors brightening with surprise. "They're showing off their problem-solving methods. Each message contains slightly different information, encouraging us to piece it all together." "Clever," Valera clicked her mandibles appreciatively. "They're testing our intelligence and comprehension, while simultaneously demonstrating their own." The ship's AI had been analyzing human communications patterns. "Chief Researcher, you might find this interesting. While official channels are attempting formal contact, civilian humans are experimenting." "Experimenting?" Valera prompted. "They're trying everything from classical music to mathematical sequences to something called cat videos. One group is transmitting the entire history of human memes, claiming it's the fastest way to understand their culture." Kellerman, who had been studying human social structures, raised a concerned appendage. Should we be worried that their first instinct upon meeting alien life is to share their jokes? No, Valera's colors shifted to a thoughtful blue. We should be fascinated. They're not treating this as a potential threat or a diplomatic challenge. They're treating it as an opportunity to share who they are, humor and all. A new message flashed across their screens. This one was from a human organization called the International Astronomical Union. They were requesting permission to name a newly discovered star after the eternal curiosity. They're already incorporating us into their scientific nomenclature, Zixtal noted, before we've even made formal contact. Speaking of which, the ship's AI interrupted. I've been monitoring their global information networks. Humans have already created over 10,000 theories about us, ranging from remarkably accurate scientific hypotheses to something called conspiracy theories. They appear to be simultaneously pursuing actual knowledge while entertaining themselves with speculation. Valera moved closer to the viewport, watching the blue planet rotate below them. You know what's most remarkable? Not a single human transmission has expressed fear about our technological superiority. I've noticed that too, Kellerman agreed. If anything, they seem eager to learn from us. Though I'm slightly concerned about the number of humans asking if they can test drive our ship. The ship's AI added another observation. Multiple human educational institutions have already announced new courses in xenolinguistics and comparative alien biology. They're preparing to study us before we've even agreed to be studied. And their military responses, Zixtal asked, ever security conscious. Surprisingly measured, the AI reported. They've maintained defensive positions but haven't taken any aggressive actions. Though there are numerous civilian suggestions about challenging us to a friendly game to establish peaceful relations. Valera's exoskeleton rippled with colors of decision. Prepare for direct contact. But first, analyze every transmission we've received. I want to understand why they're responding with such enthusiasm. Hours later, as the crew reviewed the data, patterns emerged. Humans weren't just responding to first contact. They were treating it as the beginning of an adventure. Every challenge, from the language barrier to cultural differences, was being approached as an opportunity rather than an obstacle. Chief Researcher, Zixtal reported, his colors showing mixed concern and admiration. I think I understand now why those ancient warnings called them a Deathworld species. They don't just survive challenges. They actively seek them out. And now they've decided that meeting us is their newest challenge to overcome. Valera finished. Her exoskeleton glowed with anticipation. And based on everything we've seen, they won't stop until they succeed. The diplomatic reception hall in Geneva buzzed with an energy Valera had never experienced in her centuries of xenological research. 2 weeks had passed since their first landing, and humans continued to defy every prediction and protocol. They're doing it again, Zixtal reported, his exoskeleton shifting to bewildered orange as he watched a group of human scientists eagerly demonstrating their latest attempt at pronouncing the clicking language of the Eternal Curiosity's crew. Doing what? Valera asked, though she already knew the answer. Turning everything into a competition. They've created a mobile application that scores their pronunciation attempts. They're calling it Click Hero. Zixtal's colors rippled with disbelief. It's already been downloaded 10 million times. Valera had learned to recognize human laughter over the past weeks. It erupted from a nearby group where Kellerman was attempting to master what humans called a fist bump. The humans' joy at sharing their customs matched their enthusiasm for learning alien ones. Chief Researcher, the ship's AI spoke through her personal communicator. You might want to review the latest human scientific submissions. They're concerning. Valera accessed the data and her 4 eyes widened simultaneously. In just 2 weeks, humans had produced over 5,000 peer-reviewed papers analyzing every aspect of their species' biology, technology, and culture. Several papers proposed theoretical improvements to their quantum drive design. But we haven't shared our engine specifications, she clicked in confusion. They derive them from observing our ship's energy signature, the AI explained. And 3 different universities are already running practical experiments based on their theories. A commotion from the other side of the hall drew their attention. A human child had somehow convinced Kellerman to participate in something called hopscotch, while a crowd of adults cheered them on. The sight of a dignified xenobiologist hopping on one leg while reciting Earth numbers should have been undignified. Instead, it perfectly encapsulated humanity's approach to interspecies relations. You know what's truly remarkable? Valera mused to Zixtal. They're not just trying to learn about us. They're trying to learn with us. Her observation was interrupted by an approaching human diplomat, Dr. Sarah Chen. Over the past weeks, she'd proven to be both an excellent liaison and a source of countless surprises. Valera, you won't believe what we've just discovered. Dr. Chen's excitement was palpable. Remember how we were discussing the similarities between your species' color-based emotional expressions and our own facial expressions? Well, a team in Tokyo has developed an AI that can translate between the two in real time. That's... Valera's exoskeleton shifted through several colors before settling on impressed purple. That's actually brilliant. Oh, it gets better. Dr. Chen grinned. They've open-sourced the code. Teams around the world are already adapting it for other alien species. We're calling it the Universal Emotional Translator Project. Want to see the prototype? Before Valera could respond, another human scientist rushed over, tablet in hand. Dr. Chen, the results from the gravitational wave experiment just came in. You were right. Combining our LIGO data with the Eternal Curiosity's quantum sensors increased detection sensitivity by 300%. Valera watched as the humans excitedly discussed the implications, their natural competitiveness seamlessly blending with genuine collaborative joy. She'd finally begun to understand why the ancient warnings described humans as they did. Chief researcher, Zixtal interrupted her thoughts. The Human Education Consortium has submitted their proposal for the exchange program. Already. Valera clicked in surprise. We only mentioned the possibility yesterday. Yes, and they've already established curricula, safety protocols, and something called interspecies sports leagues. Zixtal's colors shifted to resigned amusement. They're calling it the Space Year Abroad program. A loud cheer erupted from a corner where humans and aliens had begun an impromptu competition, combining Earth chess with a strategic game from Valera's homeworld. Neither species fully understood the hybrid rules they'd created, but that seemed to be exactly why they were enjoying it. You know what the ancient warnings got wrong, Valera said to Zixtal as they watched the scene unfold. They thought humans were dangerous because they treat everything as a challenge. But that's not quite it. She gestured to the room full of humans and aliens learning, playing, and discovering together. Humans don't just challenge themselves. They challenge the very concept of limitations. And they do it with such genuine joy that they make everyone around them want to join in. As if to prove her point, the ship's AI interrupted again. Chief researcher, humans have just submitted a proposal for what they're calling the Interstellar Olympics. They want to create new sports that any species can compete in fairly, using both physical and intellectual challenges. Valera's colors rippled with laughter. Of course they do. Because they've decided that if they're going to join the galactic community, they're going to make sure everyone has fun doing it. Even if it kills them. Zixtal asked, only half joking. No, Valera replied, watching as Dr. Chen demonstrated Earth dance moves to a fascinated group of alien diplomats, even if it makes them look silly, which for humans is far more challenging than risking death. The room continued to buzz with the controlled chaos that seemed to follow humans everywhere. They were rewriting the rules of interspecies contact not through careful diplomacy or technological superiority, but through an irresistible combination of curiosity, competitiveness, and genuine desire to share joy. And somehow, it was working better than any first contact protocol ever designed. The warning came at 300 Earth time. The swarm, a nomadic species known for stripping resources from inhabited worlds, had detected the Eternal Curiosity's quantum signatures and changed course. Their entire fleet would reach Earth in less than 72 hours. Valeura's exoskeleton had gone almost colorless with dread as she delivered the news to the United Nations Security Council. Her species had encountered the swarm before. Worlds burned. Civilizations fell. The best anyone had managed was to evacuate before they arrived. The humans' response was not what she expected. 72 hours. General Maria Santos of Earth's Joint Defense Command looked thoughtful rather than afraid. That's plenty of time. Plenty of time. Zixtal's colors flashed with disbelief. The swarm has over 300 ships. Your entire planet has no defense against their technology. Yet, Dr. Chen corrected, already typing rapidly on her tablet. We have no defense against their technology yet. Valeura watched in astonishment as the council chamber erupted not in panic, but in rapid-fire problem-solving. Within minutes, humans worldwide were being awakened and briefed, but instead of causing chaos, it triggered what they called crisis innovation mode. Chief researcher, the ship's AI reported, "You need to see this. Human information networks are adapting." On screens around the chamber, they watched as humanity's internet transformed. Social media platforms became coordination centers. Gaming servers were repurposed for running defense simulations. Cryptocurrency mining rigs were volunteered for processing quantum calculations. They're treating it like a global hackathon. Kellerman observed, monitoring the streams of data. Every human with relevant skills is being matched to teams working on different aspects of the problem. Valeura's colors shifted to a maize blue as reports began flowing in. Engineers were adapting their quantum communication technology to create early warning systems. Physicists were reverse engineering scans of the Eternal Curiosity's defensive shields. Computer scientists were developing AI to predict swarm attack patterns. But how are they coordinating all this? Zixtal wondered aloud. Memes, apparently. The ship's AI replied, sounding equally puzzled and impressed. They're using humor to maintain morale while spreading technical information in easily digestible formats. It's surprisingly effective. Hour 36 brought the first breakthrough. A team of graduate students in Mumbai had found a way to use modified cell phone towers as a planetary defense grid. By hour 40, manufacturers around the world were retooling assembly lines to produce the needed components. This shouldn't be possible. Valeura clicked as she watched humans transform their civilization's infrastructure in real time. The technological leap is too great. With respect, Chief Researcher, Dr. Chen smiled, running on what humans called coffee and determination. That's because you're thinking linearly. We don't have time for that. The humans had taken every scrap of alien technology they'd been exposed to and started improvising. They combined quantum principles with their own digital technology in ways that shouldn't work but somehow did. They turned social media algorithms into predictive defense systems. They weaponized their planet's telecommunication network. At hour 50, the first tests began. Failures were met not with despair but with rapid iteration. Each failed attempt produced new data, new approaches, new solutions. The humans called it failing forward. Chief Researcher, the ship's AI interrupted. I feel compelled to point out that they're not just preparing defenses. They're improving them. Valeura watched as humans took basic concepts from their quantum shields and pushed them in unexpected directions. They weren't just copying alien technology. They were reimagining it through the lens of their own chaotic innovation. They're treating extinction-level threat as a learning opportunity, Zixtal observed, his colors showing both horror and admiration. No, Valeura replied, finally understanding. They're treating it as proof that they were right, that all their stories, all their preparation, all their seemingly illogical fascination with alien contact scenarios had a purpose. At hour 65, humanity revealed their full strategy. They hadn't just created a planetary defense system. They turned their entire civilization into a weapon. Every satellite, every cell phone tower, every digital device had become part of a global network that could channel quantum energy in ways Valera's species hadn't thought possible. It's elegant, Kellerman admitted, analyzing the system. They took everything they learned from us and combined it with everything that makes them unique. They turned their whole planet into a single, coordinated defense mechanism. But will it work? Zixtal asked the question they were all thinking. Dr. Chen's answer was interrupted by new alerts. The swarm had arrived early. Their fleet emerged from quantum space at the edge of the solar system, 300 ships strong, ready to harvest another world. They found humanity waiting. The first swarm ship to enter Earth's atmosphere encountered something unprecedented. A quantum field generated by billions of coordinated devices, each contributing a tiny portion of energy to create something greater than the sum of its parts. They did it. Valera's colors blazed with astonishment as the swarm ship's systems failed, forced to land by technology that hadn't existed 3 days ago. They actually did it. Did you doubt us? Dr. Chen asked, watching as the rest of the swarm fleet retreated, confronted with defenses they had no reference for countering. Yes, Valera admitted honestly, right up until you proved why we should have believed in you all along. Humanity had taken an impossible challenge and turned it into their greatest moment of innovation. They hadn't just survived, they had transformed their entire civilization in the process. 6 months after the swarm incident, Valera stood before the Galactic Council, her exoskeleton glowing with the formal colors of a diplomatic presentation. The massive chamber was packed with representatives from hundreds of species, all eager to hear her report on humanity. Distinguished council members, she began, I stand before you to address the warnings we found about Earth. Those ancient messages called humans a Deathworld species. They were correct, but not for the reasons we assumed. Holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing scenes from humanity's response to the swarm. Humans didn't evolve on a Deathworld, Valera continued. They evolved on a world that taught them to never accept limitations. The displays shifted to show human children learning alien languages, scientists collaborating on quantum physics, artists creating new forms of expression that bridged species barriers. Their planet didn't make them dangerous. It made them adaptable. It taught them to see every challenge as an opportunity. Zixtal, now Earth's official liaison to the Council, stepped forward. His colors showed pride as he reported. In 6 months, humans have contributed more technological innovations than most species develop in a decade, but not because they're smarter or more advanced. Then why? Asked a council member, their bioluminescent patterns showing skepticism. Because they don't know they're not supposed to be able to do these things, Valera explained. They take our most advanced technology and ask, what if we tried it this way? They see our carefully established protocols and ask, why not do it differently? The displays showed humans teaching alien children Earth games, organizing interspecies sports leagues, creating entertainment that crossed biological and cultural barriers. They turned everything into a game. Valera continued, not because they're frivolous, but because they understand something profound. Play is how you learn without fear of failure. But their methods are chaos, protested another council member. They have no respect for established procedures. Exactly, Valera's colors shifted to passionate crimson. And that's their greatest gift to us. They remind us that procedures should serve progress, not limit it. New images appeared. Human emergency response teams helping evacuate a colony world threatened by solar flares, Earth universities hosting the first interstellar science fair, diplomatic meetings that looked more like festivals than formal negotiations. The ancient warnings told us not to wake them, Valera said. But they were never sleeping. They were waiting. Not for us to find them, but for the opportunity to prove what they always believed, that the universe is full of wonders worth discovering, challenges worth facing, and people worth knowing. Kellerman, who had become Earth's chief xenobiological advisor, added his own observation. They've started calling themselves humanity's B team. They say the A team is still coming, once their children grow up knowing the universe is real and full of possibilities. The council chamber buzzed with mixed reactions of concern and intrigue. Valera raised all four arms for attention. Honored Council, I'm not here to ask you to approve humanity's methods. They don't need our approval. I'm here to suggest we learn from them. Learn what? Asked the council leader, their crystalline form refracting light in patterns of curiosity. Learn to see challenges as opportunities. Learn to treat differences as strengths. Learn to face the unknown not with fear, but with wonder. Valera's colors shifted through a rainbow of emotion. They call their homeworld Earth. We called it a Deathworld. But they've shown us it's something else entirely. It's an incubator for possibility. The displays showed a final image, the new interstellar academy on Earth, where species from across the galaxy came together to learn not just human sciences and cultures, but human optimism, human determination, human joy in the face of the impossible. The ancient warnings were right about one thing, Valera concluded. Once awakened, humans can't be stopped. But that's not a threat. It's a promise. They don't want to conquer the impossible. They want to invite everyone to join them in trying. As the council deliberated, Valera received a message from Earth. Dr. Chen had just led a team in successfully creating the first human-designed quantum drive. They'd named it the Why Not drive, and early tests suggested it was 30% more efficient than existing models. Valera's colors shifted to amused acceptance. Of course they had. Because humans didn't just face challenges. They delighted in them. They didn't just overcome obstacles. They turned them into opportunities for everyone to grow. They were, indeed, a Deathworld species. Not because they were dangerous, but because they had learned to see possibility where others saw peril. Not because they were fearless, but because they had learned to make fear itself into a game worth playing. And now, having found they weren't alone in the universe, they were determined to share that gift with every species they met. Not through conquest or competition, but through an irresistible invitation to see the universe through their eyes, as an endless series of challenges just waiting to become adventures. After all, as humans like to say, the best games were the ones you play together.